I want to tell you a story that changed my life forever. A story I never thought I would live. A truth I never wanted to know. For 12 long years, I lived beside a woman I loved with my entire heart. 12 years of laughter, warmth, tiny secrets, morning coffee, late night talks, soft kisses, birthdays, dreams, and plans for the future. And also 12 years of lies. Lies so deep they reached the roots of my soul and pulled them out one by one when the truth was finally revealed. For a long time, I believed I knew her. I believed I understood her, trusted her, shared my world with her. I believed she was my partner, my companion, the person who could grow old beside me. I never imagined she was hiding something so dark, so painful, so enormous, so it could destroy everything we ever built. Her name was Elena. She had soft eyes that always looked tired but gentle, like she carried too many memories inside herself. When she laughed, the room felt warmer, like sunlight through a window on a winter morning. When she cried, her sadness felt like rain that never stopped. I loved her. I loved her so much that my own happiness depended on her smile. When she came into my life, I was young, not just young in age, but young in heart, young in dreams, young in everything. She taught me to cook, to dance in the kitchen at night, to watch the stars and imagine impossible things. She told me stories about her childhood, her mother, her fears, or at least I thought she did. Maybe now I know many of those stories were not real. The first year felt perfect, the second too. We moved into a small apartment with pale yellow walls and a balcony where she grew plants. She said plants survived best when people talked to them. So she talked to them every morning, like they were friends she trusted more than humans. I never asked why. I thought it was cute. I thought it was harmless. I thought it was just her way of making life softer. But now I wondered, was she talking to them because they could not talk back? By year 5, I began to notice small things that did not make sense. Sometimes she disappeared for hours with no explanation. Sometimes she woke up from nightmares, screaming a name I didn't know. Sometimes she held an old photograph in her hands and stared at it for so long that I worried she might forget to breathe. But every time I asked her, every time I touched her shoulder gently and whispered, "Are you okay?" She smiled that soft, tired smile and said the same thing: "I'm fine, don't worry." And I believed her. I believed her for years because love makes us blind. Love makes us stupid. Love makes us ignore storms until they finally destroy the house we built. The truth arrived slowly, like a shadow entering a room, like cold creeping into bones. One night, nearly 12 years after we met, I woke up and found her crying in the kitchen. Not soft crying, not a few tears. She was shaking, breaking, falling apart like glass hitting a stone. Her face in her hands, her breath uneven, her body trembling as if she held the weight of the world too heavy for one heart. I touched her back gently. "Elena," I said, "talk to me." And that was the moment everything began to fall apart. She looked at me with eyes I didn't recognize, eyes full of fear, guilt, and something else: desperation. She tried to speak, but her voice broke like something inside her finally snapped. She said one sentence, only one, and it was enough to destroy 12 years of love. "I'm not who you think I am." At first, I thought she meant she changed, that she was unhappy, that she wanted to leave. But no, the truth was much bigger, much darker. I asked, "What do you mean?" And she said something that made my blood turn cold. "My real name is not Elena." I felt like time stopped. I stared at her, waiting for her to say more, but she could not breathe. When she finally spoke again, her words came slowly, painfully, like she was confessing to a crime. "I lied to you. I lied to you about everything: my name, my past, where I came from. I hid it all for 12 years." I felt the world shake beneath me. I felt my heart break, but still beating in my chest, heavy, confused, begging for answers. "Why?" I whispered. Why would you lie to me for so long? And her answer was the reason I will never be the same again. She said, because I am not just a woman. You were living with someone who escaped a past you could never forgive. I was wanted. I was haunted. And I was hiding from someone dangerous, someone who could kill anyone close to me. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. My mind was a battlefield of emotions: anger, fear, heartbreak, shock, disbelief. I felt betrayed. I felt fooled. I felt like the last 12 years of my life had been a dream someone else wrote for me. She continued talking, slowly, shaking, like each word hurt her tongue. I was part of something terrible, something I cannot erase. I was involved with a group long before I met you, a group that hurt people, a group that took things from people, ruined families, destroyed lives. I was young, angry, broken. I had nothing, no one, and I needed protection. They offered me a family, but it was not a family. It was a cage with no exit. She said she escaped years ago, that she changed her name, that she cut ties, vanished, disappeared into a new life, our life. But the past, like a dark shadow, always follows. And it finally reached her. She told me she received a message 3 days before that night. A message that said, "We found you." She had been preparing to leave, to disappear again, to break my heart silently, to protect me by destroying us. "I lied to you to keep you safe," she cried. "If you knew who I was, you could have been in danger. Loving me was the most dangerous thing you ever did." I felt like screaming. I felt like holding her. I felt like running away. I felt like staying forever. My heart was torn between love and fear, between forgiveness and destruction. I asked her, "Why didn't you tell me earlier?" And her voice cracked like glass. "Because loving you was the only part of my life that ever felt real. I was afraid that if you knew the truth, you could stop loving me. And losing you was scarier than dying." I didn't answer. I sat in silence. Hours passed. The sky turned from black to blue, from night to morning, and she sat beside me, waiting for my judgment, like a criminal waiting for a sentence. I looked at her, really looked at her, and I realized something painful. The woman I loved was real. The name was fake. The story was changed. But the way she touched my face in the morning, the way she kissed me, the way she held me when I was sad, that was real. That was truth. But trust was broken. She lied to protect me, yes, but she also lied to keep me in a dream. She refused to let me choose my fate. She loved me in silence while hiding a war inside her heart. I asked her one last question. What happens now? Her answer was soft, like goodbye. I have to leave before they come. They will not stop. And if they find you, they will use you to hurt me. I can't let that happen. She stood slowly, like she carried the weight of 12 years on her shoulders. She kissed my forehead gently, like a final prayer, and she walked away, out the door, out of my life, leaving behind only a silent apartment and a heart that would never beat the same again. I never saw her again. Not her real name, not her real face, only the memory of the woman I loved and the truth that came too late. She lied to me for 12 years. And now I finally understand why.